May the force be with you is a phrase used to wish a person well to overcome a challenge. The invitation in this podcast, May the Lifeforce be with you, is to explore what it means to truly feel alive, to appreciate the physical, emotional, and spiritual connection to our energy, and finally to understand how this impacts who you are and all that you do. May this conversation inspire you to thrive.
Alive is an online course that helps you to reveal, meet, and heal the patterns that cause you to lose your most precious resource, your life force energy. So if you're tired of feeling tired, visit starlight-temple.com/alive and use the code podcast to get a half-price discount on this process that aligns you into aliveness.
Hi, I'm Fiona.
I'm Karila.
And welcome to an episode, the latest episode of May the Life Force be with you.
Can you believe we've done 25 episodes?
I actually think by the time this goes out, it's a lot more, my friends.
I know, but at the time of recording, we're about to go live at 25. That's what happens when two Tauruses work together, isn't it?
It is what happens when two Tauruses work together. Yeah, well, hey, it's our silver wedding. It's our silver anniversary. And I guess a massive thanks to everybody that's listened, supported, participated, and come and joined us in the conversations as well. It's quite incredible how many people we've spoken to, and how much I've learned in the last few months.
Yeah, it really is. I feel like with May the Life Force be with you, I feel like every show is an activation. And it activates me. And then I'm like, oh, I've learned all this new stuff. I have to put it into practice. Quite intense.
Yeah, it definitely can be. And it's interesting, how there are many common themes about what life force means to people. And there are also, every time we speak to someone, there's something new, there's a different perspective. There'll be something that, someone that's listening goes, I hadn't thought of things that way, whether it be the power of music or plants or nature or the planets. There's just so many different things that we've touched on. Even, I love Sarah's episode around how she can run 100 miles in bliss using mindset games. It's just, we've had some incredible conversations.
We really have. And I want to ask you,
oh gosh,
what does life force mean to you after those 25 conversations?
Well, at the moment, because I'm in Australia, it means recording late at night. But apart from
it means being
tired.
Lack of sleep.
It means I'm quite tired. No. You know what? That's a really great question that we ask everybody. And I'm sure I said it on the first episode, so maybe just press rewind. But
no, but I want to see if it's changed.
Yeah, over the last few months, I think life force energy for me sitting here right now kind of means the essence of who you are. It's of who you are now, who you were, and who you can be. There's something about it being dynamic. It's not something that's fixed. It feels like it can change, and it can grow, and it can expand, and it can be different things depending on where you are and what you need from it as well. And I feel like it's something that you can use to help you through situations and circumstances, whether it's through grief or some form of loss in your life, or, just a low day, versus, really feeling aligned and topped up when you're at the higher energy state as well. And when you're at that higher energy state, the beautiful thing for me, for when your life force energy is topped up, it means you've got more to share with other people. And so that's my kind of reflection on how life force energy feels.
you were just in Melbourne, right?
Yeah.
And that was a high state place for you, hey?
Yeah. I used to live there and it's one of the happiest times of my life.
And how is it going back?
It used to feel very triggering because it was nostalgic to the point of loss. And, I had this life but I was speaking to my old flatmate, Helen, while I was there, and we were discussing the fact, because it's like nearly 16 years ago I lived there. And we were saying that it was a moment in time. And, you can't go back. It's not something you can revisit. But we're so grateful for this amazing set of circumstances that brought us together, that the time that we had, the other people that were connected with us at the time, and that life experience. And so this this trip, I just felt all that positive energy, that love, that fun, that freeing time. But we also said, you know what, we had some hardship, we had some challenges within that time as well, but we can see it from a distance, and it was magical.
Yeah, I have the habit of looking back at my past with rose tinted glasses. Being like, it was so good, and then I actually think about how hard it was. But like, I think we only remember, I think, I reckon that the soul has the same thing that women who give birth have. It's like this ability to like only remember the good so that you come back again. Like,
Well, isn't it funny that the memories that you do have, the stories that get stuck in the groove, like the record player, there's some things that we revisit often in our
yeah.
minds. And it's fascinating to me that there can be maybe like a dozen memories or stories or moments that for some reason get stuck in that groove in your brain. And we choose to play that record and that song often.
I
There's so
wonder if
many other moments that pass us by.
I wonder if there's a life force thing in that. I wonder if like the ones we revisit give us life force. I wouldn't be surprised.
They must do.
Will you tell
In
us
saying,
one? You have one.
well, in saying that, we can, because we're crazy humans, choose to cause ourselves pain. And so we can
Mm.
also revisit ones that trigger that pain reaction and that
Pain is
initial shock.
energy as well.
Yeah.
Like pain is energy. It's life. It is life force given for sure. I feel like pain and pleasure are kind of how you know you're alive.
Oh, definitely. But do you know that that initial shock or adrenaline shot you get from something lasts
Mm-hmm.
90 seconds? It's a 90-second chemical reaction in your body. Thereafter, everything else you are feeling or feel is you replaying the story
Wow.
to keep that emotional trigger going in your body. So set a timer for 90 seconds.
I am gonna feel this for 90 seconds.
And then
Wow.
everything after that, you are choosing to replay that emotion and re-trigger your system. But there's comfort in the pain, to your point, because it feels familiar. And it's a story that we've told ourselves about who we are based in that memory. So we just keep on playing it.
And maybe we're getting that hit. Like we're obviously not getting the
Oh, yeah,
actual
yeah.
adrenaline, but maybe
No,
we're
no.
like hashing the hit,
Yeah.
like
You get addicted to the hit. So which is why you keep on playing it. So that is because that becomes the comfort trigger, is like, this is how I'm going to feel. Yeah, I feel this way. And you keep repeating it.
so I was gonna ask you for a happy memory that you go back to, but I actually want to know, have you got a pain memory that you go back to?
Oh yeah.
You want to share
Yeah.
it?
Uh I mean, there's pain memories based around relationships. There's pain memories based around work decisions. There's pain memories maybe around hurt that you caused other people. Um, I remember the pain of leaving Melbourne, because I left Melbourne to emigrate to LA. I remember me and my ex at the time, Paul, just like sobbing our hearts out because we didn't really want to leave Melbourne, but we were off on a new adventure and there's this like crazy washing machine of emotion. And I can be back on that plane in an instant if I choose to, and feeling that heartache. In fact, I
Wow.
feel it now. So yeah. So there's, but it was exciting as well. So there's one
That's what I was
example.
going to say. It's like a pain that is also exciting. I bet they're the pain memories we go back to where you're like, this hurt so much, but it's so exciting and alive.
Yeah, I think so. And I also am very grateful for having those punctuation moments because it does make you feel alive. And I think going back and visiting old places and feeling about them the way that I do, but as the state I'm in now, you realize that things change, you change, and I can have fond memories and I can choose to replay them, and it feels good. It feels good now.
There is power in going back though to old places. I went. I didn't go very far. I went to London, and I went to where I grew up. I went to my parents' house and where I grew up. The workshop I was at with Lara this weekend was in West Hampstead, which is always really interesting to me because I go and I do this like big activation of the new self, and without fail, I come out of that tube in West Hampstead and my whole energy body struggles. Like, like I get so triggered and there is no reason to be triggered. And yet I get so like, for a long time I wouldn't go to West Hampstead. Like I just wouldn't because I was just too it was too much of a fast track into my pain body.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like, like, and there isn't anything there. All the things are gone that cause that pain. But it's just amazing to me. There's a real power in actually going to
Oh,
the
there
place.
is, because, well, we know that places have energy. We've discussed this on one of our previous podcasts. And, I think I've shared before that London does not vibrate at my frequency. And now where I've got my Whoop and the data shows me that I am significantly more stressed the second I get off that train from Brighton when I set foot in London. It just has a frequency and energy, a vibration, whatever you want to call it, a vibe that just doesn't gel with me, and I think it's maybe the buildings, the busyness of the people. I don't know, maybe it's past memory and trauma as well, because I had some hard times when I lived there too. So
London's a
I
hard
yeah, it's
place.
a hard place to live. I need to be beside the seaside.
It's a
That's my
hard
thing.
place. But for me though, like London has that effect. And then
Mm-hmm.
where I grew up, West Hampstead, has a different effect. It's
Doubles
not
it
like a
down.
stress. It's a like being punched in my solar plexus with my own depression and my own mental health and my own trauma. It's a different effect.
Yeah.
And
Don't
it is.
go. That's my suggestion. Don't go there.
Don't go. Or go there and do like loads of, I don't know. I feel like I didn't. That was my solution for ages. I was like, I'm just not going. Like, I
Yeah,
just
but avoidance
refuse.
isn't
Like,
the
my
answer.
parents lived there and I just refused to go for years because I was like, I just cannot walk down that street. I cannot,
Yeah.
like, and then, there's something though about being able to walk in the footsteps of your past and feel those feelings
Mm-hmm.
and know that that isn't your life anymore and know how far you've come and be able to feel those feelings and not drown in them. That is like another level of healing.
Yeah.
It's like actually I can hold space for this trauma that happened to me.
Well, interestingly, I think there's also pain and nostalgia. So, which is nostalgia is happy times, right? But we can change those happy memory correlations into pain quite easily because it feels like a loss because you don't have those happy times anymore. So equally,
Mm.
you can sometimes good times, not always traumatic times, can still kind of trigger a painful reaction. I think what changed for me this trip to Melbourne is that I just replaced it with gratitude.
Mm.
Just so grateful to have, yeah, the people and the place and the memories.
Yeah.
Only 16 years.
And also the ripple effects, it's like you have these beautiful experiences that you you attach to, I guess. You know what I mean? And you're like, I want to live that like that was good. I want to keep doing that. But it's like sometimes these experiences, they launch you into the next thing, or they are the thing that then ripples you out, like rippled you out to LA from Melbourne, and
Oh,
it's like, how can we not be grateful for the pushing? I'm so glad we're having this conversation because I am literally being pushed out of my life in Brighton right now. Literally, my landlord's given me my notice because she's selling. And it was a bit of a either you jump or get pushed moment because I was thinking of leaving anyway. But it's put me in this state of like grief and gratitude and attachment. And like, I'm just like, Brighton and particularly this flat's been my little cocoon for so long. And I know I have to leave the cocoon. I kind of am like a year late probably, but it's just like the actual process of it is
mm.
hard. Hey, like it's like
Well, it's a connection to safety and shelter, which is, important as a base level then of how you live, where you live, who you interact with. That's a huge part of your life force is determined by your living environment.
and I feel like it's interesting following on from some of the conversations we've had lately, but like your home is really connected to your habitual life force level.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a real reflection of your habitual life force level. I would say in terms of everything like location, expression, reality of like whether you own, rent, mortgage, like is really connected. And in some ways I feel like I've known I've had to leave this home because I've known that I'm getting too big energetically for it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been feeling too tight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yet we've done all of these 25 activations that have like super upped my life force level. And yet I can feel the part of me that like doesn't want to go next level,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want to come out of the habitual life force level because that's safe. And it's like, don't ripple me out. I'm happy. I've got my tribe. I've got my things. I've got, and it's just a really, really, interesting when the home breaks. It's like,
Yeah.
where's the next, what's the next level? It's like sometimes, or certainly in my life, I've had to like bust out of homes for the next level many times, you know. And in fact, back to that West Hampstead experience, I had to bust myself out of the West Hampstead reality. And so, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, well, I've had to bust out, but my story was more being forced to. So when I left Melbourne and moved to LA, I then got made redundant, and I'd been made redundant in London, which is why I went to Melbourne in the first place. And so I had this connection with like losing job and then losing home because my place of employment was connected to my visa. So when I lost my job in LA, I lost my home, I lost the country, I lost my relationship because that broke down, and I lost my job all at the same time. And that's when I found myself at my lowest. And that's when I moved to Canada. And I'd never been to Canada. And I got offered a job in Toronto, and I was like, hey, how can life get any worse? I'm off to Canada. And I left Malibu, and left my convertible behind in the sunshine, and I landed in 6 foot of snow in Toronto and just went, holy shit, what's happened to my life? And I went from this like light and beach to like snow and freezing cold temperatures for like months on end. I had to get a new wardrobe quick. But I met some of the most wonderful people in Canada, and I made so many strong connections that are still very close and dear to me today, and met just the most fantastic people. And I think that is where my journey of where I've ended up now all started, by being cocooned in that darkness and in that snow in Toronto.
I do think sometimes the cocoon is what you need. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it's like you gotta
People I
go.
never met before took me in and held me, and I love them dearly. And it was a very special time, and it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't have literally been booted out the US of A. So
Wow.
everything for a reason, they say, don't they, Karila?
That's like I said. Did you have a sense that I want to ask you, so like my guys have this thing of like either you jump or you get pushed. Which one are you gonna do? And like I feel like I could have left, for example. I could have jumped last year and left the flat last year. I just didn't. Didn't have the balls, didn't have the life force, didn't have the to do it. And for that level of pushing, I just want to know, like, did you have a sense that you should have been jumping, or was it like a complete curveball? Like, what was
I knew then, I just didn't have any of the skills, tools, boundaries to be able to set them. It was a horrible, toxic workplace, which destroyed many people, not just me. Awful. My relationship had broken down. It was really not healthy for me. It wasn't good. He wasn't in a good place. Now I can reflect, it wasn't all his fault, but it wasn't pleasant the way things broke down, and I was a mess. And I wouldn't have had the guts to leave him unless I lost my job. I wouldn't have had the guts to move on from my job because it was attached to my visa, and that would have meant leaving him. So everything was like all intertwined. In the end, I had no choice. I had 14 days. Like when you lose your visa, you're like, you've got 14 days, and he was like,
14 days.
And he was like, oh, by the way, don't love you. I'm leaving you too. Bye. And then I was like, I guess I'm moving to Canada. And so, yeah, it was, in hindsight, I could have made decisions and been emboldened myself. Well, this has turned into like a pity party for Fee. Sorry about this, listeners.
No. It's really, I was thinking the opposite. I was like, he's being so vulnerable and brave right now.
You might regret this. But yeah, so now I look back and I go, Jesus Christ, I wish I'd done things differently. I wish I'd had the toolkit of resilience, of loving myself, which I did not then. So I let all these things happen rather than taking control myself, because I don't think I knew I could. I was too scared.
And what would you say? You talk about the tools. What tool?
Well, my default setting was anger. And at the time, I felt everything had been done to me. And now I realize I had a part to play in all that as well. So I think the tools, I mean, God bless meditation, right? So my meditation practice, my sobriety has changed how I turn up, show up, view the world. I wasn't in a particularly good place in connection to any of that at this time. So if I had been able to make decisions with my heart, I would have made them faster and more definitively, and I would have put myself first. But I did not do any of that.
Yeah. I often think that, like, my life would be so much easier if I would listen a little bit, a little bit sooner, until the universe is like, right, you didn't listen. Come on then.
I mean, it took another 2 years for me to finally listen to the universe, and it basically gave me every immune system breakdown. Like my body just broke down because my mind, I clearly wasn't listening. So it was like, okay, we're going to make it impossible for you not to listen, because you're going to have to stay in and go to bed for 6 weeks and stop. And then I got made redundant again. And I was like, okay, here we go again. Best thing that ever happened. So, you know, these you can only move forward from where you are in that moment. And so when things like redundancy or having to leave countries or relationships break down, you kind of go in survival mode in that moment.
Yeah.
But I got better at being made redundant over the years. And now I say to people, it's a gift. It's a gift.
It is a gift, though. Like, change,
you need to think. Create
change is always a gift. Always a gift. Universe is, you do not want to be like, to me, I'm like, when the universe stops washing machine in my life, that means time's up, eh? Like, you've landed in the last place you're gonna be.
I can't remember who said it recently, but I heard, maybe I've mentioned it before, I heard someone say, the aging or getting older is a blessing because you're either aging or you're dead.
Exact. Yeah. I mean, you're the oldest you're ever going to be. You should be youngest you're ever going to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So there's something in that as a kind of perspective life lesson. So yeah.
So to change, to being grateful for the beautiful times that ripple
And
us,
the pain taught us lessons
the
as well.
pain, and to the fact that if you don't jump, the universe will push you. Because your soul will get you there in the end.
you can change the record at any time. It's not stuck. So we can get ourselves out of those grooves.
I want to end with a beautiful memory question. So which is one of the memories you go to for beauty, for energy?
Gosh. I mean, there are a number of them. Do you know what? So when you ask me that, I don't have a specific memory comes up. It's just a feeling, and I'm always on a beach. Actually, no, I do know, because I was talking about it with my old flatmate Helen just the weekend. It was my 35th birthday. I'd only just arrived in Melbourne. I didn't really know that many people, and so I had these five girls. They didn't really know each other. Some I worked with, some I lived with, some I'd known for a while. We went to this amazing Japanese restaurant, and we just had the best time. And I remember just feeling it was so much fun. We had a hoot, and it's a memory they all remember as well. And so I can fondly be sitting around that table at any time I want to kind of revisit a happy memory.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And as you're saying it, even I'm feeling the energy hit of it. So thank
It's
you.
just one of those moments where you just all connect and just have an amazing evening. So yeah, but there's lots of others that I can top myself up with throughout the years.
I love it. Collect loads and loads of memories that you can top yourself up with.
You know what? That's something that I invite us all to do. Just kind of capture those moments, and it's about being present. It really is. When you're fully aligned, you're present, you're having that collective moment. That's when the memory sinks in.
Love it.
Well, we've been creating 25 episodes worth of Lifeforce memories and
25 top ups.
but we're being so like, yeah, this will actually probably be like episode 32, so it'll sound weird.
Yeah, people know us by now though. They know that we're gonna be like
OCD in me is not happy, you know, anyway.
We can publish it early if you want.
Great to chat to you. I had no idea where we were going with that conversation, but perhaps there's something in the resilience message of if life's pushing you, go with it.
Yeah. Either you jump or you get pushed, man. Like, and I think actually, you know, there's a lot of change. We know from David's episode, we know from Bend It Like Pluto, that there is serious change coming, man, astrologically. And it's like, maybe it's better to jump rather than get pushed by that change. So, like, maybe if you're like, oh, do I jump? Do I jump? Do I jump? Do I jump? Maybe it's time to jump.
Well, on that note, I've got to jump myself. Till the next time.
You better jump to bed. May the life force be with you and the memory. We hope this conversation has topped up your life force energy. If it has, then please help us spread the life force. Like, share, subscribe, all of that. And may the life force be with all of us.